Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, when I spoke here 3 years ago, Israel stood alone among the nations. Of the nearly 200 countries that sit in this hall, only Israel openly opposed the nuclear deal with Iran. We oppose it because it threatens our future, even our very survival. We opposed it because the deal paved Iran's path to a nuclear arsenal. And by lifting the sanctions, it fueled Iran's campaign of carnage and conquest throughout the Middle East. We oppose it because the deal was based on a fundamental lie that Iran is not seeking to develop nuclear weapons. Now, Israel exposed that lie earlier this year. Last February, Israel conducted a daring raid on Iran's secret atomic archive. We obtained over 100,000 documents and videos that had been stashed in vaults in an innocent-looking building in the heart of Tehran. In May, I presented a short summary of what we obtained to the international media. I provided hard evidence of Iran's plans to build nuclear weapons and its plans to deceive the international community. Israel shared this information and even more damning evidence that we found with members of the P5+1 and with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Months have passed. The IAEA has still not taken any action. It has not posed a single question to Iran. It has not demanded to inspect a single new site discovered in that secret archive. So given this inaction, I decided to reveal today something else that we have shared with the IAEA and with a few intelligence agencies. What I'm about to say has not been shared publicly before. Today, I'm disclosing for the first time that Iran has another secret facility in Tehran, a secret atomic warehouse for storing massive amounts of equipment and material from Iran's secret nuclear weapons program. In May, we exposed the site of Iran's secret atomic archive. It's right here, in the Shorabad district of Tehran. Today, I'm revealing the site of a second facility, Iran's secret atomic warehouse. It's right here, in the Turkuzabad district of Tehran, just 3 miles away. Let me show you exactly what the secret atomic warehouse looks like. Here it is. You see, like the atomic archive, it's another innocent-looking compound. Now, for those of you at home using Google Earth, this no longer secret atomic warehouse is on Mar Alley, Mar Street. You have the coordinates. you can try to get there, and for those of you who try to get there, it's 100 meters from the Kalishoi, the rug cleaning operation. By the way, I hear they do a fantastic job cleaning rugs there. But by now, they may be radioactive rugs. This is the second secret site. Now, countries with satellite capabilities may notice some increased activity on Meyer Alley in the days and weeks ahead. The people they'll see scurrying back and forth are Iranian officials desperately trying to finish the job of clearing up that site. Because you see, since we raided the atomic archive, they've been busy cleaning out the atomic warehouse. Just last month, they removed 15 kilograms of radioactive material. You know what they did with it? They had 15 kilograms of radioactive material. They had to get it out of the site. So they took it out and they spread it around Tehran in an effort to hide the evidence. The endangered residents of Tehran may want to know that they can get a Geiger counter on Amazon for only $29.99. As of today, that's just 4 million Iranian rials. But we'll get to that later. I'll talk about the Iranian economy in a minute. They took this radioactive material and spread it around Tehran. Now, the Iranian officials cleaning out that site still have a lot of work to do because they've had at least 15 ship containers. They're gigantic. 15 ship containers full of nuclear-related equipment and materials stored there. Now, since each of those containers can hold 20 tons of material, this means that this site contained as much as 300 tons of nuclear-related equipment and material. Right here. So, distinguished delegates, you have to ask yourself a question. Why did Iran keep a secret atomic archive and a secret atomic warehouse? Because after all, when South Africa and Libya, when they gave up their nuclear programs, the first thing they did was to destroy both the archives and the material and equipment. And the answer to the question is simple. The reason Iran didn't destroy its atomic archive and its atomic warehouse is because it hasn't abandoned its goal to develop nuclear weapons. In fact, it planned to use both of these sites in a few years when the time would be right to break out to the atom bomb. But ladies and gentlemen, rest assured, that won't happen. It won't happen because what Iran hides, Israel will find. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a message to the head of the IAEA, Mr. Yukiya Amano. I believe he's a good man. I believe he wants to do the right thing. Well, Mr. Amano, do the right thing. Go inspect this atomic warehouse immediately before the Iranians finish clearing it out. Distinguished delegates, do you remember when we were promised that inspections could take place anytime, anywhere? Remember that? Anytime, anywhere. Well, how about inspections right here, right now. And Mr. Amano, while you're at it, inspect the other sites we told you about. Once and for all, tell the world the truth about Iran. Now, I also have a message today for the tyrants of Tehran. Israel knows what you're doing, and Israel knows where you're doing it. Israel will never let a regime that calls for our destruction to develop nuclear weapons. Not now, not in 10 years, not ever. And Israel will do whatever it must do to defend itself against Iran's aggression. We will continue to act against you in Syria. We will act against you in Lebanon. We will act against you in Iraq. We will act against you whenever and wherever we must act to defend our state and to defend our people. Distinguished delegates, 3 years ago, a few weeks after the nuclear deal was completed, I asked this question from this very podium. Does anyone seriously believe that flooding Iran's radical theocracy with weapons and cash will curb its appetite for aggression? But many of the deal's supporters believed just that. They believed that Iran's regime would become more moderate, more peaceful. They believed that Iran would use the billions of dollars it received in sanctions relief to improve the lives of its people, to solve the water problem, to solve the trucking problem, to solve the electricity problem, hospitals, schools. That's what they believe. Perhaps many of you also believe that. Well, this didn't happen. Instead, Iran used the money to fuel its vast war machine. Just this past year, Iran has attacked Kurds in Iraq, slaughtered Sunnis in Syria, armed Hezbollah in Lebanon, financed Hamas in Gaza, fired missiles into Saudi Arabia, and threatened freedom of navigation in the Straits of Hormuz and the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. Some peace, some moderation. Now, if you think that Iran's aggression has been confined to the Middle East, think again. Last month, 2 Iranian agents were arrested for plotting terror attacks right here in the United States. And several weeks ago, Iranian agents were arrested for plotting terror attacks in the heart of Europe. Yet, while the United States is confronting Iran with new sanctions, Europe and others are appeasing Iran by trying to help it bypass those new sanctions. Now, I've just used a word, a tough word, a very strong word, appeasement. And I use it reluctantly. But unfortunately, that's exactly what we're seeing again in Europe. Think about this. The same week, Iran was caught red-handed trying to murder European citizens. European leaders were rolling out the red carpet for President Rouhani. promising to give Iran even more money. I'm a historian's son. I have to ask. I ask it not merely as a historian's son, I ask it as a Jew, as a citizen of the world, as someone who's lived through the 20th century. Have these European leaders learned nothing from history? Will they ever wake up? Well, we in Israel, we don't need a wake-up call, because Iran threatens us every day. Because despite the best of hopes, and there were many hopes around the nuclear deal, this deal did not push war further away. It brought war ever closer to our borders. In Syria, Iran is trying to establish permanent military bases against us and has already launched missiles and drones into our territory. In Gaza, Iran is arming terror groups to launch rocket attacks into our cities and terror attacks against our civilians. In Lebanon, Iran is directing Hezbollah to build secret sites to